Okay, so Olaves Mock 1 walkthrough. So let's quickly go through the English section here. So this is about, the title is Unearthly Reckoning of an Author's Imagination. So that means pretty much this is about the author's imagination, about someone who's writing a book. It's about their imagination. So if you even just skim through this text, you can see Emily, who's probably the author, jolts awake from her slumber. There's a shimmer and a glow. And then some things, so something like, it says here, characters from her novels materialized one by one, so, like phantoms emerging from shadows, right? So you can say first came Victor, then Amelia, then someone else, it looks like, Oliver. So all of these are people or characters from the novels, the books that she's been writing. So Victor then starts to speak, says, Emily, you abandoned us. And then Oliver also says something. And as they close in, Emily's heart races. And it seems to end on a bit of a cliffhanger. Nothing else happens, right? I would assume it's either this is a dream or this is actually happening, depending on the fictional story, right? But she's being surrounded by characters that she made up from her writings, right? That's pretty much what the story is about. So if we look at the questions here, question 1, in the passage, lines 2 and 3, what literary device is used? So it's a radiant silver coin in Knight's pocket. Its rays filtering through slender gaps in curtains. So I don't see any alliteration here. So I don't think it's A. I don't see any similes here either, because a simile is when you say something is like something. I don't see onomatopoeia. There's no sort of sound that it seems to be saying. And personification, nothing about personification, nothing that is made to sound like a human. So we're left with metaphor, right? And what is the metaphor? Well, probably a silver coin in the knight's pocket. It's very filtered through the curtain. So I think it's basically saying the knight's pocket, there's a silver coin in the knight's pocket, is a metaphor, because it's obviously not real. The knight doesn't have its own pocket. And that isn't personification, because having a pocket isn't a human-like thing, I wouldn't say. So the moon shone radiant silver coin in a knight's pocket. So yeah, that's the metaphor right there. It's also, if you look at the context, right, the silver coin is referring to the moon, right? So the metaphor is that the moon is a silver coin. So that's the best option there, option D. Which phrase in the passage contains a simile? Okay, so simile is when you have like. So that's going to be option E. Question 3. What disrupted Emily's slumber in the dimly lit room? So if we look at this first paragraph, where do we find the dimly lit room? So it looks like instead it was an indelible voyage into the past. Eloquence of her words, ink of her quill were returning to haunt her in the most unexpected manner. So she wakes up right here, jolted from the slumber. But it says, the family heirloom passed down through generations makes an ominous groan. So we can assume it's a noise, and it also says disconcerting sound is coming in. So we can assume it's a noise that's waking her up. So creaking desk is probably the best option there, which is basically saying that it was that, what was it, that, yeah, antique desk that is making the noise. So question 4, how does the passage use personification to describe the desk? Okay, so the desk right here, it's a beloved antique desk, it's a family heirloom, it makes an ominous groan. So probably the groan itself is personification, because desks can't groan, right? So that'll be option A. Question 5, what is the purpose of phrase in eerie ethereal glow in the passage? So we have to find that now in here. So here it is, ethereal glow. And it says, I believe that's happening from every piece of furniture. And she realized that the characters are materializing. So what is the purpose of that phrase? It's probably not to describe the loud noise, because that's actually just describing a glow, right? Or to introduce a new character or convey the room's brightness, or the emphasize the text desk there, just to create a sense of mystery. So this eerie itself is sort of like invoking a sense of mystery. It means you sort of don't know what's happening. It's a bit weird, so that's mystery. Question 6. What is Victor's demeanor as he enters Emily's room? Okay, so we've got Victor right here. Sharp, swift, and silent is his demeanor. He's moving with a resonant clank in his armor, as if prepared to defend her honor at any moment. Okay, so let's see what our options say here. Now, charming and friendly, I wouldn't say that. Definitely not shy. He doesn't seem to be boisterous and loud. We'll have to either B or E here. Let's reread that section. Chiseled jaw, piercing blue eyes, defend her honor at any moment. Okay, so to be honest, I don't think there's anything to do with mystery in Victor's entrance. I think, to be honest, it's more aggressive than mysterious. I mean, his armor is clanking, he's sharp, swift, right? These are more aggressive terms. Again, nothing to do with charming or friendly. I think there was one of the next people that enter the room are actually charming, which is probably, I think it's Oliver. There you go, the charming rogue, right? It's not Victor. Anyway, we got B for that. Question 7, which character description uses the technique of alliteration? So let's have a look very quickly. There we go, signature seductive smile. And there's alliteration right there. I'm not seeing any alliteration from Amelia's one entrance. There's only 3 of them, I believe. So it looks like Oliver is the answer for this one. His entrance has alliteration. Okay, what is the significance of the moonlight in the passage? Okay, so this is a bit formatting. There is a bit of an issue, but it says it symbolizes darkness and fear. It provides a comforting atmosphere. It disrupts Emily's slumber. It foretells the following plots. or it signifies Emily's eccentricity. Okay, so the moonlight, let's look at the moonlight. Where is that? So right here, the moon shone unusually bright, just unusually bright. I think that's trying to um, give an idea of something, right? If it was just shining usually, nothing would be happening. But I think it's foreshadowing a bit what might be happening next. So it's rays filtering, it's stark contrast. Emily found herself in a fitful slumber in a dimly lit room. Yeah, so this idea that the moon is shining unusually bright on this night where this um, occasion happens, where this weird sort of thing happens, where all her characters come to life, I think it's foreshadowing. So that would be option D, foreshadowing. It foretells the following course. Question 9. What does Emily realize about her characters in the passage? So it says right here, we went over that. He says, "You abandoned us, left us in the pages of your books, forgotten." Right? We longed for more adventure, so they wanted her to write more stories, and they come to offer a chance to make amends. So option D will be the right answer. They want her to write more stories. Question 10. What does the passage leave the reader with? A. A sense of closure and resolution. B. A feeling of ambiguity. And so it says definitely not A, because we're left with a bit of a cliffhanger, right? We don't know what happens next. We don't know if she escapes or if it's a dream or whatever. A desire to read more of Emily's novels. Not quite. We don't really understand much about her novels just yet. We don't understand her characters' motives very clearly. I mean, we know that they want them to write more books, but I wouldn't say that's what the passage is leaving the reader with, right? An appreciation of the author's vivid descriptions. Yeah, not particularly. If you look at the conclusion, right, it says, as they closed around her, her heart raced. She had a sinking feeling. She knew that escaping her own creation would be the most formidable challenge yet, and then it ends it right there. So we don't know what's happening. It's a massive cliffhanger. It's really leaving the reader with the feeling of ambiguity and uncertainty. That's what it's leaving the reader with. So that's going to be the best option there. Question 11. Which two words can replace the word fitful in line 4? So let's look at fitful. And it says fitful sleep, right? A fitful slumber in a dimly lit room. So fitful. If you imagine having a fit, you're a bit noisy, I'd say. Or so a fitful slumber is sort of having sleep that's a bit disruptive, you know, like you're waking up every now and then. It's not a very deep sleep. So which one could we use there? We could use periodic or disrupted, right? A fitful slumber, a disrupted slumber, periodic slumber. It's not regular, that's the opposite. Not really healthy. Sound wouldn't work there either. So these are the only two that work there. Question 12. Which two words in the passage are in American English? So realized. American English would use a Z, we use an S in English, in UK English, right? And armor, again, we would use a U for armor. Okay. Now we're on to verbal reasoning. So you're advised to spend 15 minutes on this section. Which of these pairs of words has a different relationship compared to the others? So calm and peaceful both mean the same. Same with these two. Angry and happy are antonyms. So that's going to be the odd one out. All of these mean the same thing. Question 14. Which of the following is the odd one out? Spoke clearly, shouted angrily, whispered slowly, screamed furiously, or typed quietly. Okay. Now, I think some people may have chose D because there's a capital letter missing here. So I believe you'd get the mark for that one. But if we look at the actual words, let's look for the actual odd one out. So all of these are actually words that are like speaking, so speaking, shouting, whispered, screaming, etc. And typed is completely different. That's the odd one, right? Yeah. Question 15. She diligently worked on her adventurous project until completion. Which word in the above sentence is an adjective? So diligently working, right? So working is a verb. This is an adverb. So it's not diligently. Now, project is a noun, and adventurous is describing the project. So option E would be the adjective. Question 16. We've got 3 codes, and to decode these, we have to find, okay, we've got 5 and 5 here, right? Meaning one of these words that ends and starts with that. Okay, 5 and 5 and 5. It's going to be difficult because 5 has got to be S, I believe. Yeah, because there's only these, you can only be S because these have letters that end, all 3 of these have ended in S, right? If it was an R, there aren't enough words that end in an R. So we know 5 is S. So that means this one is going to be star, S-T-A-R. So 9 is T. S is equal to 5. A is equal to 1. And R is equal to 6. Okay, so which sequence of numbers represents the word arts? So we can just solve this now. A is 1, R is 6, T is 9, and 5. Ice is 5. 1695, that's option B. Okay, question 17. Emily, Jacob, Katie, Liam, and Megan have consecutive exam scores. Emily scored higher than Katie, but lower than Liam. So Jacob is the lowest with 60. Megan is the highest with 64. So consecutive, that means one after the other. So the scores are going to go like this. We already know Megan is 64, Jacob is 60, and we know Emily scored higher than Katie, but lower than Liam. So Liam's going to be higher than Emily, and Katie is going to be lower. So what score did Emily get? 62, which is option B. Question 18. Rearrange the words of the following sentence in descending order of length. So if there are same number of letters, place them in order in which they appear in the sentence. Okay, so mountains is the longest here. Has got, I think it's 9 letters. This has got 7. It has got 6. Got 5 and 5. So it should be mountains, weekend, hikers climb every, which is option A. Question 19. Arrange the words of the following sentence in descending order of the number of vowels they contain. If they contain the same number of vowels, place them in order they appear in the sentence. Okay, so this is the phrase right here. Our ocean provides food for many people. Sorry. Yeah, okay. So the number of vowels, we've got two vowels in this one. Two, three, four. Three vowels in this one, sorry. Three here. Two, one, and three. Okay, so the three, that should be ocean first, and then it should be provides next, and then people. So ocean provides people. Now, it can only be either A or E at this point. Now it should be our next. Yep. And then it should be food next. So that should be option E because this one has food at the end. And it does say descending order, right? Yeah. Question 19 is E. A option. Question 20. Arrange the words of the following sentence in alphabetical order of their final letter. So if they have the same final letter, arrange in the order in which they appear in the sentence. So joy brings hope to all. So alphabetical order, all should go first, and there's only actually one option that matches that. So it should be of their final letter. Yeah, I made a mistake there. To their final letter, right? So we've got O, E should be first, right? And then you've got O, which should be next. L is next. S is after that. And then joy. So that's going to be hope to all brings joy. To all. Oh, sorry, I made a mistake. L is before O, so it should be hope all. Hope all to brings joy. So option D. Okay, question 21. Rearrange the words of the following sentence in descending order of the number of syllables. So, creative children create wonderful dreams. So, syllables. Creative, that's 3. Children is 2. Create is 2. Wonderful is 3. And dreams is 1. So it should be creative, wonderful, which leaves us only with option A as our answer. Question 22. Which of the words in the following list are homophones? So homophones is when they sound the exact same when you say it. So sight, sight, and sight, all homophones. Okay. Envy or odd one out now. You are advised to spend 15 minutes on this section. Okay. So, question 23. All of these seem to have a square on the right side of the arrow. Option C has a square on the left side, so that's going to be the odd one out here. Question 24. All of the arrows seem to point towards each other. Apart from a D, they point away, right? Question 25. Now, this is easy. All the cubes are... Actually, maybe that's not good enough for... Let's have a look at what else it could be. So you've always got this. I do think it's going to be D. It's just the only one that's got a different view. Like all of these have got the view from this side, alright? Yeah, I think it's going to be D because of the cube shape, right? You can see all of these. They've got a similar sort of cube orientation, where it's like that, like the flat one, and for this one, we're actually looking from more of like the top onto this cube, and we're looking at from it diagonal, from the diagonal right here as well. 26. So we've got square, circle, triangle, arrow. Okay, it's the same order on all of them. Now, the arrow is always being rotated. It doesn't matter. What matters is like the fact that there is a rotation, right? This arrow, if you A and B and C and D are all rotations. With D, it's actually a reflection. This arrow, right? It's I think it's actually, to be honest, is all of the shapes, right? A, B, D, and E are all rotations of each other. As you know, it's just the arrow. It is just the arrow. But yeah, if you look at the arrow, if you try and rotate this, it would look like this, and this is pointing the wrong direction. You could try and say that it's pointing sort of like anti-clockwise, clockwise, anti-clockwise, and clockwise, whereas these ones are all pointing like anti-clockwise. It's difficult to say that. I think it's easiest way to explain it is that the arrow is a reflection, whereas all of the other arrows, these shapes, are the same, but just rotated in a different way. Question 27. We've got 5 lines here, 7, 8, 9, and 9. Okay. So to me, it looks like each of these have a line of symmetry. You got a line of symmetry down this side, down here, and down here as well. Now with this option, there is no line of symmetry. If I try and do it here, that doesn't work. If I try and do it here, it doesn't work because you can see there's no line there, right? So D has no line of symmetry, so it's the odd one out. But it's to do with the positioning, right? So if you look at the triangle and the heart, they're always opposite each other in these options, apart from option E, where they are next to each other. And I believe on top of that, you can see that the G and the triangle are always next to each other, right? If you had this G in here, it would have been next to it. Same here, right? These ones are opposite. So E is the odd one out. It's a positioning thing for this one. Question 29. This one, these all have right angles, right? Now, D does not have right angles, so it's the odd one out. Now on to envy of similarities. So question 30. Now, all of these have a line of symmetry. Actually, it looks like 2 lines of symmetry, right? So which option is that going to be? Option B is the only one with 2 lines of symmetry. So that's going to be the most similar here. Question 31. We've got, if you look at these down, pointing down, this is pointing to the right, this is pointing to the left, right? And then for this one, we got left, right, and then up, right? And now with this one, we got up, down, left, right. So in all of these, we have left and right, and then we either have up and down or up and up and down, right? So let's look at what our options look like here. We've got two ups and then right and right, so it shouldn't be that one. There's two ups and then again left and left, shouldn't be that one. And then this one, I think this is horizontal, then vertical, then vertical, then horizontal. I mean, you can't really tell with these ones where they're pointing up, down, and then right, right. Again, we don't have a right and a left on this one, so we're left with either with C. This one seems to match it. We've got left, right, up, down, right. So that's our similarity here, pretty much, is that we have at least two shapes that are pointing left and right. And where I'm sort of pointing towards with this, if you're looking at the tip of this pentagon, right? That's the only sort of positional place that I can refer to. Hopefully that makes sense. So that leaves us with option C as our answer. Okay, question 32. So the similarity in all of these is if you look at the angles in the corners, they're all the same, right? So these are regular shapes where they've all got the same angle. Now, the only option that is matching that is option C. It's got the same angle in all of these corners. So D doesn't have any corners. This has got a right angle here, and then these two are different. So this is all right angles apart from this angle, which is much bigger than a right angle, so it can't be B. And these are very clearly different angles from each other. So you're actually left with option C as the answer. It's the only regular shape there that's got same angles on all corners. Okay, question 33. We've got half of it is white and half of it is black. And the only option that matches that, where it's a 50-50 split, is option A. So the answer there is option A. Question 34 now. So with this one, we have sections, it's sectioned out into unequal parts, so you can see they're not all equal. Now, all of these options are sectioned out into completely equal parts, so option A is the only one that will match that. Question 35. So what we've got here is the triangle arrow is always moving clockwise. And if we look at all of our options, this is anti-clockwise, this is anti-clockwise, 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 right? So only option B is the correct one there, where it's moving clockwise. And everything else there is a distractor. Question 36. Okay, so the line is always passing through a horizontal side. Now all of our options here. So with these, a lot of these questions, one of the easiest ways to find the answer is to look at the actual options. You can see all of these options, the line is going through the corners, whereas in option C, the line isn't going through the corners, which is the same as all of these. So option C is the right answer there. Question 37. So we've got 1, 2. So all of these options have at least two shapes with one side missing. So the only option here that has that is option E. So that's going to be our answer. Okay, on to the math section. I believe this is the last section. So, in the first round of a gymnastics competition, James is given the score 2 and 2/11. His score is later revised to account for the difficulty in the round. His new score is this. So, what is the new score? So, with these ones, you have to convert them to an improper fraction first. So, remember the invisible times and the invisible plus. So, 11 times 2 is 22.
add the 2 is 24, so that's going to go at the top over 11. And this one is going to be 13 over 12. Now, if we just multiply these normally, we should get 312 over 132. Now we have to simplify that. So let's just start off by dividing the top and the bottom both by 2. It'll give us 156 over 66. And then we can do that again. That would give us 33, 78. And we do it again. This is probably the simplest way to do it. If you can't think of a number that goes into both of them, just keep dividing it by 2. Actually, you can't do it for this one, so let's divide it by 3. I assume 78 will divide by 3. So that will give us 26 over 11. And that might be where we, yeah, that's the final one. That's option A. So if you answer this and then simplify it, you should get 2. Question 39. In the second round of competition, James scores this, and then it's revised to this. So for division, it's keep, flip, change. First of all, let's simplify this into an improper fraction, sorry. Just convert it into an improper fraction, so that gives us 15 over 2. And is keep the left side, flip the right side to 3 over 2, and then multiply it. So change to a multiply symbol. Now if we just multiply here, we should get 45 over 4. If we simplify that, actually I'm not sure if it will simplify. It won't, so we'll get option C as our answer. Esther bakes 48 muffins. What fraction of the muffins are not chocolate, blueberry, or lemon? So this is all the fractions. So if we add these all together and find out what's missing, that's going to be the answer to this. So let's convert these. Let's set up our equation. It's all of these added together. Now you have to obviously make sure that they have the same denominator. So let's use 12 as the denominator, and then convert these to equivalent fractions. So 1 over 6 is 2 over 12. This one is 3 over 12, and this one is 4 over 12. Now if we add these together, we'll get 9 over 12. And if we simplify that, it's actually just 2/3. Sorry, not 2/3, 3/4. And what's left over is 1/4. So 1/4 of these are not chocolate, blueberry, or lemon. So our answer here will be option D. Question 41. Looking at question 3, how many muffins are not chocolate, blueberry, or lemon? So we found out it's 1/4. Well, there's a total of 48 muffins here. So we do 48 times 1/4. It's the same as saying 48 divided by 4, which is just 12. So 12 muffins is the answer. Question 42. 4 friends are ordering a pizza from a takeaway. The amount of pizza each person eats is shown as a fraction below. We've got all of these. Which person eats the most pizza? So we just have to figure out which fraction is the biggest. Now, immediately, you could even visualize this a bit like this. If you want to do it, it might be a bit quicker. So that's 7 over 8, right? So he's eaten all of this apart from this little slice here. That's George. 3/4, he's going to eat. Oop, he ate basically all of these and left this big portion. So it's definitely not Lily that ate the most. 5 over 6. So if you split up into 6 pieces. 1, 2, 3. There we go, that's 6. So he's eating 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So he's leaving 1/6, right? So I did it in wrong. But yeah, if you color these all in, right? So he's leaving that. This is obviously, this guy's eating more. Matthew, same idea. Splitting into 5 is a bit more difficult, but I mean, ideally, what you can see is George is eating the most pizza. He's actually only leaving 1/8. This guy's leaving 1/6. This guy's leaving 1/4, and this guy's leaving 1/5. Now, which one is the smallest? Like, which person has left the least pizza? Well, 1/8 is the smallest. So if the denominator is bigger and the numerator is the same, then it's a smaller number. So you should get George, option B. Another way to do it is if you just convert all of the fractions to have the same denominator to equivalent fractions, then you could figure it out as well. This was a bit simpler to do that. Question 43. A farmer owns a field of 9 kilometers squared. He uses 4/5 to grow potatoes. How much field is used to grow potatoes? So 4/5 of 9 kilometers. Now, any integer, any whole number is actually just over 1. And then of also just means times. So now we've got 4/5 times 9/1. This is much easier to do. So 4 times 9 is 36, and 5 times 1 is 5. And there we go. Our answer is right there, 36/5. Question 44. Natasha is cutting up rope. She has 900 centimeters of rope. She uses 1/5 to tie up a parcel and 1/3 on something else. So how much is remaining? Well, we have to add these together and then subtract it from 1 to figure out how much is left. So to add these, we have to make them into equivalent fractions. So this one, if we use 15 as our denominator, this is going to be 3/15. And this one is going to be 5/15. What I'm doing there is I'm basically seeing how did we get from 3 to 15, so that was times by 5, and then we do the same thing to the top. So hopefully you're familiar with that. So this is our new equation, and then if you just add these together, you get 8/15 as your answer. That's how much is that's how much is used. So how much is left unused is going to be 7/15, which is option A. Question 45. Work out this. So with these ones again, convert it to an improper fraction before you do anything. So this is going to be 17/3, and this one is going to be 11/4. And if we minus these, we have to first change them to have the same denominator. So let's use 12. And so 17, we have to do times 4, 68. And 11 times 3, which is 33. And now if we minus those, should give us 35/12 as our answer. And is that an option here? Maybe I made a mistake. So 3 times 5 is, yep, this is 17. 4 times 2 is 8. Add the 3 is 11. Okay. And so we did 17 times 4, 68. And 33 times, no, 33. So 68 minus 33. So the answer here is 35/12. So there's a mistake in this question, so you will get a free mark for this. If you're taking this, for example, in 2025, this option should say 35/12. So the answer would be B, but obviously this should say 35. Okay, question 46. Same thing, we have to convert these, so this is going to be 9/2, and this one is going to be 7/5. And if we use 10 as a denominator, this will be 45 up here. And oops, this will be 70. No, this will be 14, sorry. So if we now just minus this, we get 31 over 10 as our answer. And then now we have to convert it back to a mixed fraction because our options are in mixed fraction. So sorry, it should be an addition symbol, and that should give us 59 over 10. And if we convert that, that would be 5, because 10 goes into 59 5 times, and then the leftover is 9 over 10. So 5, 9 over 10, which is option D. Question 47. So same idea with this. Convert it to an improper fraction, 7 over 2 divided by now it's keep flip change, so let's flip this to say 5 over 14, and then change this to say times, and then do 7 times 5, which is 35, and then 2 times 14, which is 28. And then we simplify it. So 7 goes into the top number 5 times, and 7 goes into the bottom number 4 times. So option E is our answer there. Question 48. So 22 over 25 of 1000. So of means times, and 1000 over 1. So if you do this, you get 22,000 over 25. That basically just means 25 divided by 22,000. So if you do this normally, like how many times is 25 go into 220? It will be 8 times. I'll give you 200. If you minus it, you'll get 20 down here. You bring the 0 down. How many times is 25 go into 200? This is again 8. And now there's no remainders. And you can basically just move the 0 up, because bringing the 0 down doesn't really do anything, right? So what you end up getting is 880. So 25 times 880 is 22,000. And that's your answer, right? Option C, because that's what we were doing just there. Okay, question 49. Again, of means times. So 4 times 333 is 1,332 over 9, which just means 9 divided by 1332. And if you do, how many times does 9 go into 133? 14 times. 126 is 9 times 14, so if we minus that, 7, bring the 2 down, 9 goes into 72 8 times, 148 is our answer, option A. Final question here, what is 13 over 15 of 285? So again, times, and this is over 1. They're just big numbers that you have to deal with. So if you do 13 times 285, you get 3705. You do long multiplication for that. This is going to be over 15. Now you have to divide it. It's 15 divided by 3705. Should give you 247, which is option E. So hopefully that was useful. That is the end of St. Olave's mock, mini mock 1.